The Old Testament has a lot of laws, some 613 according to tradition. They cover a variety of issues, many of them to us exceedingly minor. Which animals are clean and which unclean? What do I bring to offer as a sacrifice for which kind of sin or celebration? It's easy to get lost in the minutiae of it all, and even easier just to put it all aside as irrelevant to us. And yet, the law is still part of our Christian Bible. We cannot simply ignore it, but neither are we bound to its minute requirements, at least not for salvation. Which leaves us the question, what is the law all about, and what does it mean for us? Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas, and this is your daily devotional for Thursday, February 27th, 2025. The shortest answer to what the law is for us in the Christian faith can be summarized by what theologians recognize as the three uses of the law, which I've talked about before. It restrains evil, it holds a mirror up to us and reveals how we fall short, and most importantly for us Reformed Christians, it serves as our teacher, pointing to the life of holiness before God. It is this third use that we mention each Sunday when we begin the summary of the law. We who are leading worship will say, as forgiven people, God has not left us without guidance for living, for God has given us the law as our teacher. For our Lord Jesus said, and then we together recite a portion of a passage from the Gospel of Matthew, where Jesus responds to a group of Pharisees who ask him, "Teacher, which commandment in the law is the greatest?" Jesus responds, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the greatest and first commandment, and the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets." Okay, that's all well and good, but what about all those laws that cover painfully minute situations? Our friend Peter Enns, in his book, How the Bible Actually Works, points out that even many of these minute laws leave a lot of room for questions. Many are ambiguous at best and hopelessly out of date at worst. At least two things can be said here. First, the law was intended to set Israel apart from the other nations. There is a refrain in Leviticus and Numbers that drives home this very point. In Leviticus 20, for example, we read, "You shall keep all my statutes and all my ordinances and observe them, so that the land to which I bring you to settle in may not vomit you out. You shall not follow the practices of the nations that I am driving out before you. Because they did all these things, I abhorred them. But I have said to you, you shall inherit their land, and I will give it to you to possess, a land flowing with milk and honey. I am the Lord your God. I have separated you from the peoples. You shall therefore make a distinction between the clean animal and the unclean, and between the unclean bird and the clean. You shall not bring abomination on yourselves by animal, or by bird, or by anything else with which the ground teems, which I have set apart for you to hold unclean. You shall be holy to me, for I, the Lord your God, am holy, and I have separated you from the other peoples to be mine. You shall be holy, for I, the Lord your God, am holy, and I have separated you from the other peoples to be mine." So the law has to do with making a distinction and a distinctive kind of life. But here's the deal. The law can be maddeningly ambiguous, leaving us to struggle with how to figure out how it works in our own lives. And it's ancient, addressing issues we no longer confront. And the law does not cover each and every situation we face. For Enns, this is not a bug in the system, it is the point. The law engages us. It makes us think. It requires us to ponder its meaning and how it applies to us today. In short, the laws of the Old Testament require us to engage in the practice of wisdom. Yesterday, I alluded to the idea that this sort of thing is in our wheelhouse as Presbyterian and Reformed Christians. Our name, Presbyterian, points in this very direction. The word comes from the Greek word presbyteros, meaning older person. But what it really points to is not a person's chronological age, but that quality that often comes only with age, namely wisdom. We are ruled by elders in our system, people who are chosen not because of their popularity, but for their wisdom. What they do theoretically is approach decisions facing the church with the Bible, the confessions, and the Book of Order as guides, but doing their best to make the wisest decisions based on imperfect information. That's what the law requires of us in all of its ambiguity. Some people in the church always gravitate to trying to make unbending rules to govern every single possible issue, but they are always frustrated when new situations arise that do not quite fit the rules. What they miss about the law is that it is designed to make us engage life with wisdom. Wouldn't it be easy if we had a rule book we could consult for each and every problem we face? Sure, but that's not what we get in the Bible in general or in the law in particular. Turns out there's no substitute for wisdom in the life of faith. Tomorrow, diversity is not a dirty word. But for now, may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.